Good evening and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. Tonight, we're indeed very fortunate to have with us new lawyers. And it so happens that they are the sons of Dumaguete City Mayor Ipe Remollo and attorney Christine um, Quisha Remollo. And our new lawyers are attorney Felipe Carlos Pelos C. Remollo and attorney Felipe Claudio Dio C.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Pelos. Hello, attorney
Good afternoon,
Pelos.
Tito.
Attorney Deo. How does it feel to be
Good
called
afternoon,
attorneys?
Tito.
How does it feel to be called attorneys?
Well, we were mistaken as attorneys before pa. But then since now it actually is true,
Yeah.
it's bittersweet, no? I mean, we've been always around lawyers, syempre, since birth. But right now, it still feels very surreal, actually, na we're part of what, a bigger community, a community that's supposed to uphold the rule of law.
How about you, Deo? How do you feel now?
Well, Tito, if I'm being honest, I feel like there's a weight that's off my shoulders. Because ever since we were kids, my parents will never, well, my dad will never admit this, but it's as if my parents were grooming us into become lawyers. Even the course they suggested when I asked my dad, what course should I take in college? The only option he gave me was legal management. And I also, since I was a kid, wanted to pursue law, and going through all the hardships, especially in law school. I never expected it to be that hard. After taking the bar and finally now passing, I guess, we've achieved our goal. But the question remains, then what now? It's a big weight off my shoulders, but then there's still a question mark on what to do next.
Now, take us through that nerve-wracking moments when you were, few minutes, you'll find out the results. How was it? Tell our viewers about that. Let's start with attorney Pelos first.
Well, I honestly was confident coming into after the bar exams. Syempre, it was a new style of exam, but then I felt that I passed. But then the week before, the day before and the day off, talagang kanang nervyoso kayo, Tito ba?
Yeah.
So even though if you felt that you did well, the nerves are still there. I mean, the bar kasi, I can say that you can say that you answered it correctly, but then if the examiner does not agree with you, syempre, sayop gihapon. So it was really a nerve-wracking experience the day before and the day of the bar. Syempre, like, that's going to be another how many months of studying if we did not make it, which we were prepared to do. Syempre, like, tuloy, padayon gihapon, padayon. Pero it's a good thing that the results came out favorable, not just for me, for my brother and also my girlfriend, and also most of our friends who took the bar.
Correct. How about you, Deo? How was it waiting for the results of the bar exams?
Well, of course, we were nervous. Akong mama gana wanted to be with us. Ningon siya, mag-video ko na siya while waiting for the results para makitaan ba ang true reaction. But for me, naulaw ko because what if, God forbid, the results aren't in our favor, and then there's a video to remember such a But what Pelo said, we knew that we really did prepare hard and we gave it our all. So no matter, I told myself, no matter what the results would be, at least I prepared for it the way I was supposed to, and then I left it all up to God.
Yeah. Now, when you both found out that you passed the bar exams and you're now lawyers, how was it? How did you react to the confirmation that you passed the bar exams?
Well, yes, Tito. Well, of course, there was, like I said earlier, a weight off my shoulders. I was very relieved, very happy, and also very also in the same time unsure of what to do next, because like I said earlier, I felt like my life was leading up to going to law school, taking the bar exam, and then now that it's over, the question now is what to do next. And
Correct.
so right now I chose to pursue the profession of law through private practice. I think that's where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm. When you say private practice, are you thinking of specializing in a specific like maybe civil law, or let's say criminal law, or is it generic in okay?
I think
About,
I'd like to do more on civil law.
okay. How about you, Pelos?
Right now, Tito, I'm currently in the Guto Coronel Uy Villamor law office.
Yeah.
It's mostly litigation, actually. So we take in civil cases, criminal cases. We also do corporation work. So it was more of a, parang right now, it's more of just finding the practice area which I am more confident in, or more aligned with in terms of my future plans, my goals.
Hmm. For those watching us, no, especially for those who are law students as well. Yeah, but let's talk about your bar preparations, no? Considering the pandemic, and it's such an extraordinary situation. And what adjustments did you have to make reviewing for the bar and preparing for the bar exams?
Well, in my case, since it was the pandemic, not just my case, but my brother's case as well. We were cooped up in our rooms lang. It was difficult at first. I had my girlfriend with me. We studied together. It was difficult at first kasi syempre, when other barristers used to study for the bar, they could go out, they could have a change of scenery, they could study in a coffee shop, they could study in the library or wherever. But since with the situation right now, we were just basically in one area for 2 years, actually, yes. Because I was supposed to take it when it was in 2020 pa.
Yes, right.
But then, it was difficult in the sense that it seemed like it was repetitive every day, which the bar, to be able to pass the bar, repetition is key. However, it was, you can go a little bit insane kasi, or because you won't have an outlet, you won't have a break, a change of scenery. But in the end naman, it was the goal. It was the dream that we needed to just keep pushing forward to be able to pass the exam.
Claudio, what adjustments did you have to make when during the pandemic? Kasi ibang situation yun, especially sa review nyo and then sa pagkuha nyo na exam. What adjustments did you have to make?
Well, like what Pelos said, back in law school, I was more comfortable studying outside the house. So I had to get used to, because when I'm at home, I get distracted easily. The risk of taking a nap is also so much higher, because I can at any time go to my room, sleep, rest. Yeah. So the biggest adjustment for me was finding my own workspace at home and being able to stick to the schedule that I've made for myself. Which I think it took time to get into a routine, but eventually I was able to do it.
Now, let me get your thoughts on, you were supposed to, Pelos, am I correct that you were supposed to take the bar in 2020 pa, no? But because of the pandemic, na-postpone siya, no? How was it like taking the bar exams together with your brother?
It's not naman something that is different or something that I would say that I didn't want to do. Kasi, I mean, my brother and I have always been together ever since. We were teammates since we were grade school, high school, college, in the national team also for baseball. So it wasn't really something that bothered me. For me, it was even better because, syempre, we're both competitive. So if the other one is studying, the other one will make sure na kailangan jud na karon mo study pug ko kay si Dio or si Pelos ka study, ana ba?
Yeah, correct.
So, but it wasn't really a competition in a sense that was bad. It was more of at least we had more a goal or somebody that we could try to follow, kumbaga, sa kanang if we're taman to study, ana.
How about your thoughts, Leo? Taking the bar together with your brother.
Same to what Pelos said. I think it was more of a motivation. Yes, we compete often in a lot of things that we do, but we're also both happy to see each other succeed. And both my parents have, since we've always been two growing up and we're close in age, it's inevitable that we sometimes compare each other to one another. But I think my parents did a very good job in teaching us and showing us that we succeed in our own ways. We don't always have to compare, because as long as we succeed in our own ways, then we all win at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think for me at least, it was good that I took the bar exam with my brother, because I also didn't want to, di ko ganahan na paggawa sa bar results, the only name would be my name, or the only name would be my brother's name.
Yeah.
So in that sense, we both of us pushed each other. If we talked about it, gani na it's either we both make it or we both don't make it. The hardest situation would be for one of us to make it and for the other not.
Well said. Your thoughts?
It's also Tito.
Yeah, okay.
It's also lighter on my parents, kasi at least they only have to worry about the results one time lang.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Now, yung bar exams ngayon was totally different from how it was done in the past, no? Considering that there were several bar centers, no, all over, and in Dumaguete it was Silliman University. In your case, you took the exam, Pelos, where? The bar exam?
I took mine in UPBGC.
And then Deo, you took yours where? Where was this?
I took mine in University of Makati.
Okay. Now, considering that there were a lot of bar centers, no, to an innovation that was done because of the pandemic. How do you see this? Do you think this was a good approach as far as bar exams, and you feel that they should be continued, or you feel we should return back to the one bar center lang? Your thoughts on that, Pelos?
Well, in my opinion, I really think what Justice Leonen did for this bar to regionalize it was a really good idea. Not just the fact that you spread out the examinees to avoid another COVID surge, but it also provides a little bit of financial comfort to the ones who can't come to wherever the testing center is. And usually it's in Metro Manila. So that means people from, let's say, Mindanao, from Northern Luzon, from Visayas will have to travel.
Correct.
Whereas they could have just done it like now. And it would also give these barristers a little bit of more support. Regionalizing it kasi will also provide access to their families who live in their areas to be their auxiliary when they're taking the bar, for support also, to be with them basically while they're taking it, rather than having to fly all the way to Manila to dorm pa. I really think what Justice Leonen did, and I think what they're doing for the next few bars, is should be the standard, should be the norm from now on.
Do you share the same thoughts as Pelos on that regard?
Yes, Tito. I think Leonen did a great job in finding the solution to regionalize the bar exam. Because, of course, if for example, somebody who studies in Silliman University must prefer na dito siya sa Manila mo take. What Supreme Court did was they gave us three, if I'm not mistaken, three options: our first choice, our second choice, and our third choice. And then they had their own algorithm on how they decide where each bar taker will take their exam. So at least giving themselves the option, then they can take into consideration, like what my brother said, many things. Their access to support, their access to their materials, where they're taking where they're taking their review for the bar consideration, so that when they choose or when they pick their three options for where to take the bar, then they can pick one which is most beneficial for them.
Now,
and as Justice Leonen and the rest of the Supreme Court was able to show, it's something that's possible. Made me realize, made me think, I don't know why we've been taking it in one testing center for all this time when apparently this whole time we could have done it in schools closer to each parish, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Both your parents, no, si Mary Pe and Attorney Tintin Remollo, are lawyers and graduated the same school that you graduated from in law, which is the Ateneo de Manila University, no, law school. Now, what lessons and tips did they share with you preparatory to the bar exams? Pelos.
Well, one is to keep away from distractions. I think growing up, the number one thing that my parents have always taught us is to keep away from distractions.
Mm-hmm.
They would say limit our time going out, limit our time with friends, make sacrifices, basically.
Correct.
Growing up, that wasn't my strong suit, making sacrifices. Not really. But when we ended up going to law school, when we ended up enrolling in the Ateneo, that's when I noticed where sacrificing time for the things that you want to do or you want to achieve in life will really go a long way. Just like in the bar, I'm sure a lot of barristers have experienced this also as well. They had to stay away from their families, especially now, because you're afraid to get COVID while studying for the bar, syempre, because you can't,
Yeah.
So basically, they taught us the value of sacrifice talaga. And that's one thing that I can always thank them for.
Yeah. How about you, Dave?
Sacrifice. Yes.
Well, one key thing that both my parents kept telling me is that you need hard work and you also need the drive to finish law school. Because if you're not focused and you don't give it your all, then, and it's an everyday thing. If you start off relaxing and telling yourself, ay dili, okay ra, kay ugma, mutuon ko, or next week, mutuon ko, then you get used to that mindset, you keep pushing things back. But if you keep in your mind that hard work is an everyday thing and that you and that it will continue tomorrow, like a repetition, then you'll be able to succeed in law school. And that's really options. So I could study the whole weekend for an examination on Monday, but then at the end of Monday night, I have to study again for Tuesday school. You have to do this every single, most especially leading up to midterms.
Now, did your parents have being both lawyers, did Mary Pe and Attorney Tintin Remollo had any influence in your decision to pursue legal studies and to become lawyers yourself?
I did want to become a lawyer, I think high school, like late high school. For sure, I think when I knew I wanted to go to law school, that's when I first entered college. And it wasn't much of a push for my parents because they knew I already wanted to go to law school. Like I said earlier, I think even since when we were kids, there was some sort of breeding, or they were trying to instill in our heads that if you become a lawyer, you will be able to do many things, you'll be able to help a lot of people, you'll be able to succeed. So that was one way we knew. Well, that's one way I knew I could contribute to society, to contribute to society in general. Because I grew up seeing both my parents practice law.
Yeah.
So seeing them made me want to do what they do.
Pelos, was it a decision that was made on the basis of you deciding that you wanted to pursue law?
Yes, Tito. Well, the decision to go to law school was not mine. But, long story short, my dad asked me to try it out, at least for a week. Then a week became a month. Then a month became 2 months. Then I realized that it's something that at first I actually not naman super resisting, but resisting in a sense that my heart was not in it. But I think going into second year, that's when it really picked up. I saw the practicality of studying the law, because when you become a lawyer, you can basically do whatever job that you want to do. You don't have to practice law, but at least it's something that you went through, you learned, so at least you can better serve society. It wasn't until my 4th year in law school where I realized that not 4th year in law school, my 3rd year in law school, that I realized that the profession that we're in is not just for your clients, but it's also into society in general. We were taught in the Ateneo to be men and women for others, which is something that I hope in my legal career I'll be able to do, not just privately, but also in the future, maybe as a public servant, if it's needed, if I can be of service to the people. But right now, it's better that I hone my skills and help people in my own way as well in the private scene.
I like to apologize for prying, but what was your hesitancy, or why didn't you wanted to pursue law in the first place? Were there other plans that you had in mind?
Oh well, I was going to apply for corporations, the typical what an Atenean undergrad would do in college. But then when my dad eventually convinced me to try law school out, it made sense also because I didn't really have a concrete plan of what I wanted to do yet. Which like any graduate, dagan kayo na mga amigo nako na wala sila kabalo kung unsay gusto nila buhaton after college, niadto na pud law school, and that's when they found themselves. I'd like to say na growing up kasi also we were always in the realm of sports.
Correct.
We concentrated mostly on sports. So not naman na we neglected our studies. We still got good grades. Don't get me wrong, but our focus wasn't really on what we were studying at that time. Whereas compared to law school, we basically, well, at least me, I found what I wanted to do. I found myself.
Okay. Deo, you're just like your dad, no, a lawyer and a public servant as mayor of Dumaguete City. Is joining politics being considered by any, maybe by you or by Pelos, as part of your future plans?
Well, Tito, I think for now it might be too soon to say because right now we're focused on helping my dad. Hopefully, the coming May win for his last term, and then his work is not yet done. So I think me and my brother both agree that for now our focus is helping my dad first and foremost get the win this coming elections, and then after that, even with his projects, we want to be more active because we. Admittedly, we haven't been able to come home that often as much as we'd like to because we were studying in law and it's very time consuming. We can only come home during the holidays. But now that we have our own schedules, we'll try to take more time off work so that we can help my dad and Dumaguete progress in the way that we all see is fit. It's not really up to one person on how Dumaguete should be. It's up to the people. And, this is why we have a democracy.
Yeah.
Because the people get to choose their leader, and then their leader will listen to the people and make decisions based on what the people would want or what is best for them. And I think me and my brother, Pelos, will agree with me that for the next 3 years, should my dad win, we want to do our best to help him bring Dumaguete to a better, in a better situation than it currently is now, because there's always room to improve, in my opinion.
Well said. How about you, Pelos? Is politics part of consideration in the future for you?
Well, Tito, I want to get one thing straight. I think that being a politician for me and my brother is not something that's within our grasp right now. I think the best word to say that if ever we do run, or kung unsa man na, I think the best word would be public servants. Okay. We're not going to be public politicians, but in the future we will be public servants.
Okay.
I really think there's a difference there.
That's right.
Because I honestly think that if you have nothing to bring to the table, you have no positive impact that you can bring to the city, to the people of Dumaguete. Not just Dumaguete, but to the people of the Philippines. I honestly think that you have no business in becoming a public servant. Oh man, pwede ka maging politiko, pero kung wala dyan kay public service, for me, that's not it.
Yeah.
So right now, to answer your question, no, we don't have plans to run in the future. Not yet. I think now the main goal is to help my dad, help Dumaguete in his first to win the upcoming elections, and also the next 3 years. if elected for his last term, we'd like to, as my brother said, we haven't been back as much to Dumaguete. Don't get me wrong, we come here all the time, but we don't, as much as we want to come here, our schedules would not permit it because we were pursuing something that would eventually help us, help other people in the future. Maybe, not maybe, but for sure now, the next 3 years, my dad's elected, or even if he's not elected, we will still come back. We'll come back to see what we can do for the city as private persons, as citizens, also as resident voters here in Dumaguete City. I think it should start from there. I think it should start not just from us, but then all those other citizens or people of Dumaguete City or even the Philippines who want to run. I think they should, or want to get into public service, they should start privately. Now, kung wala pa ka sa balota, you should do something for your city. You should do something for Dumaguete. And I think that is what me and my brother are going to do from now on. We will look for ways to give back to the city. Not necessarily become public servants, not yet, or maybe never. But giving back to the city is the number one thing that we want to do right now.
Well said. Now, for purposes of our viewers, who intends to take up law or to become lawyers, just like the both of you, is the choice of law school an important factor in the assurance of one's success in passing the bar and becoming a lawyer? Or are there any other factors involved? Your thoughts on this? Pelos, please.
Well, I think the choice of law school, don't get me wrong, I think that passing the bar and being a great lawyer comes within oneself. You can be part of the top law schools or even be part of, not of the top law schools, but still not make the bar or still not be an excellent or a lawyer for others. I honestly think it's mostly self-discipline. The Ateneo has taught us, me and my brother and also my parents, that because it's Socratic method, so basically we really have to learn ourselves. You get scared of not doing well in recitations or in class because everyone else is prepared. So I think that's what Ateneo instilled in us, actually, being able to figure things out by ourselves with the guidance of our professors. But I think, choice of law school, I honestly think that as long as you have the drive, you are committed, and you make time. For me, honestly, you have to make time for it. That's the number one factor, I think, for me, if anyone wants to pass the bar. The choice of law school, yes, people say that if you're part of the big law schools, that you will do better. The percentages of the big law schools are better also, but I honestly think that it has to do with the individual. The more you want something, the more that you're going to have to sacrifice for it so that you can be able to attain it.
How about you, Deo? Your comments on that?
Tito, I'd have to agree with my brother. If you look at the numbers alone, people might think that some certain school, if you go to a certain school, then you'll fare better based on the average of the passing rate in the bar exam. Okay. But I think it really shouldn't matter because at the end of the day, we're taking the same exam. So it greatness can come from anywhere. It can come from somebody from Siliman, from University of San Carlos, Ateneo, UP, San Beda. Ultimately up to the person who enters law school with a determination to finish it, with a determination to succeed. And, when you have that determination, then you'll work hard, you'll study hard, you'll prepare better. And at the end of the day, pass the bar. So it's kanya-kanya. It's not dependent on the school. Although maybe it might help, but any person from any school can succeed just as much as a graduate from Ateneo or UP.
Well said. Now, Dumaguete City, both your home, is host to 3 universities with law students coming from different parts of the country. Your advice to them as student of law and as future lawyers as well, Pelos.
My advice to the future law students or the law students now in the schools, I think it should be that they should be studying the law with a goal in mind. When I say goal in mind, it can be a private goal or something that you want to do in the future. Let's say you want to get into an NGO, then you want to learn about environmental law. So in law school, that's what you should push for. I'm not saying that you'll find whatever you're looking for in law school. Well, I did find what I wanted to do in law school. But then my advice is just to have a goal in mind. Every day is going to be a tiring battle between you and your professors. you're going to feel like dili na nimo kaya or kanang ang kayahan na ra nimo is up to a certain level, but trust me, you can break your own boundaries. You just don't know it yet. It's always the fear of the unknown that will get to you. My concrete advice is to have a goal in mind. Have something that you want to strive for other than becoming a lawyer. That one thing that you as a lawyer will do later on. Because I think that's what's really going to make the difference between whether or not you finish law school and whether or not you pass the bar.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Deo?
To my future panieros, balo ko na looking forward, murag dugay pa na, you may be a first-year student, even fourth-year students. They may think that the bar exam is a long way, that it being in November, but, you know, hinay-hinay ra, you take it one day at a time. If as long as your goal is clear, which is to become a lawyer, then every day when you make decisions in life, you just have to ask yourself, kining akong what I'm doing towards my goal of becoming a lawyer, or is it not helping me? And you know, some days you could get lost, you may lose sight of that dream, but that's fine because you have a lot of time to make up for those mistakes. As long as you're aware that you want to become a lawyer and then everything you do is in furtherance of that goal, you take it one day at a time. You know, study your cases slowly, study your books. And also, I think it's helpful na you have an outlet. You have to understand na you have a life outside the law profession, outside law school. And it's also sometimes good to pull back and relax, find your leisure time. And then once you're ready again and motivated, then you give it your all once again. So just take it easy and try to remember that other people have done it before. So what makes you any less that you cannot do what other people have done before?
And your message to your parents, Mayor Ipe Remollo and Attorney Christine Remollo. We'll start with you, Dea.
Well, first and foremost, I don't think I've said it enough, but I'll say it again. Mom, Pops, daghang salamat for all your help. You know, ever since we were kids, they supported us through any endeavors we wanted to go, may it be baseball, you know, and then now that we're in law school, their support has always been 100%. So thank you for guiding us, for always being there for us, and hopefully we can repay the favor.
Yeah, well said. Pelos, how about you? Your message to your dad and mom.
Well, first off, Mom, Dad, thank you. Thank you for putting up with me and Dio. Thank you for listening to me, personally listening to me complain about my teacher this, my teacher that, for pushing us in any endeavor that we do, whether it be baseball, whether it be our other activities. Thank you for not giving up on us, basically. I'd like to say also, thanks that Pops first, that you helped me, pushed me to do something which I feel like was one of the best decisions I've done in my life. One of the best decisions that I have chosen in my life. Yes. And to my mom, Mom, thank you. You've always been an ear to me whenever I'd rant about anything that had to do with school. Don't get me wrong. Being in the Ateneo Law School with your parents, Felipe Antonio Remollo, and at the time, Christine Fernandez Cuisha, Remollo, we had some big shoes to fill. Syempre, kay our teachers were their classmates or even their professors as well. But definitely, it was a big thank you also to them, because without their help, our professors' help, we wouldn't have gotten this far. And thank you, Mom and Dad, again for being just a call away. I know, Dad, that you're busy here in your home in Dumaguete, which is our home as well. Thank you for still making the time to make sure that me and Dio did well pa rin in school. Now it's your turn. We're watching you this time. We hope that you're in this last elections and your last term, you'll be successful and continue to do the job that you've been doing here in Dumaguete City and helping the lives of the citizens of the city be better.
And on that note, finally, your message to our viewers, to the people of Negros Oriental and Dumaguete City for the upcoming elections. Pelos.
Para sa mga tanataw there is Dumaguete City, I'd like to say na please, palihog jud na help us, help my dad, help the city. Kanina yung last term, he's been doing a fantastic job this last 6 years. I'd like to be able to come back. Well, even if he does not win, but hopefully he does, to come back and help my dad. Our whole family, full support is always for my dad. But syempre, what we do is not for his own benefit, but it's always for the people of Dumaguete City. We've been sharing my dad with you for the past how many years na. It's time that he finishes his job strong. Help him help the city in this next election and the next 3 years. I'd like to say also that kung magkita ta diri sa Dumaguete, don't be afraid to say hi to me and my brother or to any one of us. We are very approachable, and kanang mga problema ninyo, we can give whatever free legal advice that we can give. Of course, that will always be there. I'd like to say again, thank you, Tito Dino, for allowing me and my brother this opportunity to to say our experience in law school and to be able to have this platform. Thank you.
Deo, your message to our viewers for the upcoming elections?
To the voters of Dumaguete City, maayong gabi kaninyong tanan. If I had to leave you with a message, these upcoming days are definitely crucial. You know, the different candidates and the parties will be going around sa mga pulong-pulong, sa mga house-to-house, and I urge you all to listen carefully to what each candidate has to say. I believe that I believe that every voter should be informed in order so that they can come up with the best decision on who they think the best candidates are, whether it be for mayor, vice mayor, councilor, or even president or vice president. I urge everybody to go out and vote because that's the whole point of democracy. If you want to be heard, you go out and vote for who you believe the best candidate is. And you should be able to inform yourself by listening to these people as they go around. Me personally, this coming elections, I will be voting for, of course, my father, Mayor Ipe Remollo, for Vice Mayor, Maisa Sagadbaria, and then my councilors are Consejal Amores, Arbon, Bandal, Dicen, Esmeña, Lawas, Lentorio, Mariano, Patrimonio, and last but not the least, Tolentino. But for me, you just have to be convinced that the person, you should be able to sleep well at night knowing that the person you voted for is the person best for the position. And go out and vote. Like I said earlier, these upcoming days are crucial because this next elections is a big one. And we need all the help that we can get. So go out and vote for who you think will be best fit for the job. Daghang salamat. And thank you, Tito Dino.
Yeah, thank you. Attorney Pelos, Attorney Deo, congratulations on you and thank you for being my guest tonight in Let's Talk. Dagan jud salamat, and this will not be definitely the last time we'll be interviewing you. No? Definitely will be interviewing you again as definitely as you go along in your legal profession. So thank you.
Sige, Tito, just invite us anytime.
Yes, thank you very much.
Anytime, Tito. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was our guest for tonight, Attorney Felipe Carlos Pelos C. Remollo and Attorney Felipe Claudio Dio C. Remollo, sons of our Mayor of Dumaguete City, Mayor Felipe Antonio Ipe Remollo, and Attorney Tintin Remollo. Now, continue to like us at our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Let's Talk with Dok Dinno Dumaguete. So on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode. That's our show for tonight. Be well, and let's keep talking.